For years, Uganda's political system has been shaped by pressure groups which play a crucial role in not only making government accountable to the people. Some of these pressure groups are known for seeking justice, while others try to foster regime change. One pressure group is the National Resistance Army, which opposed the Idi Amin regime and later the Obote II regime before taking power in 1986. Uganda has also seen a number of pressure groups sprouting. In 2011, a political pressure group called SUBI, which was led by Erias Lukwago, Betty Nambozi, and Medad Segona from the Democratic Party, allied with the FDC to galvanize support for Dr. Kano Kizza Besigye in the Central region. Other pressure groups that have evolved in the politics of Uganda include Activists for Change, or FOC, which was led by current leader of opposition Mathias Mpuuga. FOC, which was mother of the Walk to Work movement in 2011, would later be declared illegal, had one mission, which was to foster peaceful change in the management of public affairs of Uganda using violent movement through protests. It would later be rebranded 4GC, also known as For God and My Country, led by the same people Mathias Mpuuga, Dr. Kano Kizza Besigye, and Erias Lukwago. Other pressure groups that have come along include the People Power Movement, led by former Kyadondo East legislator and presidential candidate Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, who led protests challenging the over-the-top tax or social media tax in 2018. This means most of the pressure groups over the years have had either NUP's Mathias Mpuuga, FDC's Dr. Kizza Besigye, and Erias Lukwago at the helm. Recently, former presidential candidate Dr. Kano Kizza Besigye, alongside FDC party officials led by Patrick Oboi Amuriat, Erias Lukwago, and other political players from the Conservative Party, People's Progressive Party, Social Democratic Party, and the DP Bloc, launched a new pressure group, the People's Front for Transition, whose symbol is a red card. The agenda of this pressure group is to oust the ruling government before 2026 without casting a ballot and by using peaceful means. The largest opposition political party with a majority of MPs in parliament, the National Unity Platform, did not participate in the launch. FDC party president Patrick Oboi Amuriat, during the launch of the front, also invited members of the NUP to join the cause for change. NUP have since responded to the members of the Red Card movement by saying that they are ready to support forces fighting for political change.
I want to call on our friends, other political forces in this country, and particularly to speak to the National Unity Platform, that if they would like to cause a difference in our politics, this is the time to come together.
We have made it clear that for us, we judge people not by what they say, but what they do. And as long as any formation or any group is fighting to end the regime in Uganda, they are our allies, they are our comrades.
The absence of the largest opposition political party at the launch of the movement leaves many unanswered questions as to whether they are willing to make a compromise when it comes to fostering regime change. Reacting at the formation of the Red Card movement, NRM Director of Communications Emmanuel Dombo questions the formation of People's Front for Transition, revealing that the current regime was duly elected through a democratic process.
Whether it is an advocacy group, I don't know whether it is going to offer pro bono services and for what. This really is for those who have formed it. But for us, We are busy implementing the manifesto, for which the people of Uganda have elected the NRM to deliver service for these 5 years.
Executive Director of the Center for Constitutional Democracy, Sarah Birete, asserts that many coalitions and pressure groups have been formed with the same players, but they lack clarity on objective and agenda.
So what lacks in opposition coalitions that we have had over time is clarity on objectives that should be democratic and constitutional, clarity on responsibility based on assessed strength and weaknesses of each of the parties coming together, and clarity on responsibility and how to mobilize citizens to cause the change they tend to bring.
According to political historian and analyst from Makerere University, Mwambutsa Ndebesa, Uganda has many institutions or groups advocating for change which have failed to achieve their goal, yet they are still very active. Ndebesa proposes for a change in approach by forming a network for change with a secretariat that is non-partisan.
They have not, survived for a long time, but they have also possibly not achieved their goals. So possibly the goal is still there, that is change, but I think they need to have a different design of that forum for change. They need to come up with a different design. And in my opinion, the designs have been the ones which are wrong.
Emmanuel Dombo says they cannot speculate on the actions and motives of Dr. Kizza Besiege's pressure group, and also says that there is a legitimate government that will respond to their actions.
For us, we cannot anticipate. We cannot even speculate what the actions are going to be, because the Ugandan government is now a legitimate government which has got the capacity and the ability to deal with any situations as they emerge. And that will be the responsibility of government to respond to them.
Coming from the constitutional watchdog, Sarah Birete advocates for forces of change that are focused on mobilizing people before 2026.
Regardless of the reservations we might have, we have a government in place. So I would be glad to hear forces of change that are focused on mobilizing people and putting clear structures to ensure victory, to guarantee victory in 2026, than hearing an announcement of change before 2026.
She adds the country does not need a savior on the side of the ruling party, and neither does the opposition.
I belong to the school of thought that firmly believes that Uganda does not need a savior. Uganda does not need a savior on the side of ruling party, and Uganda does not need a savior on the side of the opposition.
Uganda's political terrain has had its own fair share of hurdles, especially when it comes to the opposition. The differences in ideology have continued to divide the two big opposition parties, FDC and NUP. Simon Chris Makanga, CTV, PM Edition.